Everyone told you to work hard for 40 years and retire at 65. That's not a retirement plan, that's a prison sentence with a 401k. There's a movement that's flipping that script entirely, and Wall Street doesn't want you to know about it. Listen, the system told us to go to college, get a good job, climb the ladder, and maybe retire at 65 with enough money to survive on cat food and basic cable. That's the dream they sold us. But here's the reality. You're working harder than your parents ever did, making less money adjusted for inflation, and retirement feels like a fairy tale. You stopped believing in around the same time you realized the Easter Bunny wasn't real. But what if there was another way? A movement where people in their 30s and 40s are saying peace out to the 9-to-5 grind and living life on their own terms? It's called FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. And it's not just for tech bros with six-figure salaries. You're watching M3 Money Mindset Makeover. This isn't just a channel, it's a mindset revolution. Subscribe to elevate your money mindset. Elevate your life. Today, we're breaking down the habits that can change your retirement timeline immediately. Because you deserve to live, not just survive until you're too old to enjoy it. Let's dive in. First, let's clear something up. FIRE isn't about eating ramen for 15 years and living in your car to retire at 30. That's the straw man version that skeptics love to throw around. The real FIRE movement is about something much bigger: financial freedom. Picture this. You wake up on a Tuesday morning. No alarm, no commute, no boss breathing down your neck about TPS reports. You check your bank account, and you realize you have enough money working for you that you don't need to work for money anymore. That's not retirement, that's liberation. Financial freedom means having enough wealth to cover your living expenses comfortably without selling your soul to a corporation. It means you can pursue your passions, travel, volunteer, start that business you've been dreaming about, or simply exist without the constant anxiety of, how am I going to pay rent this month? Some people hit this milestone in their 30s, others in their 40s or 50s. The timeline isn't the point, the freedom is. So let's go from the dream to the 3 actual pillars that make FIRE actually work. FIRE isn't built on wishes and vibes. It's built on 3 concrete pillars that anyone can implement, regardless of where you're starting from. Pillar 1, frugality, but not the sad kind. When people hear frugal, they picture someone reusing toilet paper and crying into their DIY haircut. That's not what we're talking about here. Frugality in the FIRE world means being intentional with your money. It's about living below your means and recognizing that every dollar you don't waste today is a dollar that can multiply and work for you tomorrow. Think about it. That $15 DoorDash order you barely remember? If you invested that instead at an 8% return, it would be worth over $100 in 25 years. Now multiply that by every mindless purchase you make in a week. We're not talking about deprivation. We're talking about directing your money toward the life you actually want instead of the life corporations tell you to want. Practical frugality looks like cooking at home more, which is also healthier, so you're winning twice. Cutting subscriptions you forgot you had. Looking at you, $12.99 streaming service you haven't opened in 3 months. Finding free or low-cost entertainment that actually fills your cup. Asking yourself before every purchase, am I buying this? Or is my anxiety, boredom, Instagram algorithm buying this? Pillar number 2, extreme savings. Yes, it sounds scary. Here's where FIRE gets real. Most FIRE followers save 50 to 70% of their income. I know. I heard you gasp through the screen, but stay with me. This sounds impossible if you're barely making rent, and that's valid. But here's the thing. Your savings rate is the single most powerful factor in determining how fast you reach financial independence. Not your investment returns, not your salary, your savings rate. If you save 10% of your income, you'll need to work about 51 years to retire. Save 25%? That drops to 32 years. Save 50%? You're looking at 17 years. Save 70%? Less than 9 years. The math is brutal and beautiful at the same time. Now, how do you actually achieve this without living in a cardboard box? Increase your income. Negotiate that raise you've been putting off. Start a side hustle that monetizes skills you already have. Level up your career through certifications or strategic job hopping. Automate your savings. Pay yourself first. Set up automatic transfers so your savings disappear before you can spend them. Eliminate high-interest debt. That 22% APR credit card is actively working against you. Attack it like your financial freedom depends on it, because it does. Optimize your big three. Housing, transportation, and food typically eat 60 to 70% of your budget. Small optimizations here create massive savings. Pillar number 3, strategic investing. This is where the magic happens. Saving money is crucial. But if you just stuff cash under your mattress, inflation is slowly eating your lunch. You need your money to make money. This is where FIRE followers get strategic. Low-cost index funds. Instead of trying to pick the next Amazon, you invest in funds that track entire markets. Think of it as buying a tiny piece of the entire economy. When the economy grows, you grow with it. Diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments across stocks, bonds, real estate, and other assets. When one goes down, another might go up. Tax-advantaged accounts. Max out your 401k, IRA, HSA, any account that lets your money grow tax-free or tax-deferred. The government is offering you a discount on your taxes. Take it. Asset allocation. Match your investment mix to your timeline and risk tolerance. The closer you get to financial independence, the more conservative you might become. The beautiful part? You don't need to be a Wall Street genius. Simple, consistent investing in low-cost index funds has historically beaten the majority of professional fund managers over time. Let's pause the inspirational music for a second and get real about why FIRE feels impossible for most of you watching this. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from negative. Student loans have you drowning before you even get your first real paycheck. The average millennial has over $28,000 in student debt. Gen Z isn't far behind. Your rent eats 40% of your income, or more if you live in any major city. Meanwhile, wages have barely budged while the cost of literally everything has skyrocketed. Your parents bought a house for $80,000 in 1995. That same house is now $450,000, but your salary definitely didn't increase 5x to match. You're working side hustles just to survive, not to get ahead. You're exhausted. You're burnt out. And when someone tells you to just save more, you want to throw your phone across the room. Here's what I need you to hear. You're not failing. The system is designed to keep you running on a hamster wheel. The game is rigged. The banks profit when you stay in debt. Your landlord profits when you can't save for a down payment. Your employer profits when you're too scared to quit because you need health insurance. But here's the twist. Understanding the game is the first step to changing how you play it. Drop it in the comments. What's your biggest money leak right now? Rent, food delivery, Amazon late night orders? Let's call it out. Even if you start implementing FIRE principles, you'll face challenges that have nothing to do with math. Let's quickly discuss mental toughness. Watching your friends take vacations to Bali while you're meal prepping and saying no to brunch gets old. The FOMO is real. Society teaches us that spending equals happiness, and unlearning that takes work. Market volatility. The stock market will crash. Not if, when. Your portfolio will lose 20%, 30%, maybe 40% in a downturn. Can you resist the panic-selling urge and stick to your strategy? This is where most people fail. Life curveballs, medical emergencies, car breakdowns, job losses, unexpected expenses that blow up your perfect spreadsheet. This is why emergency funds aren't optional. They're the foundation. Social pressure. Your family might think you're crazy. Your friends might call you cheap. Your partner might not be on board. Financial independence requires coordination and commitment, especially if you're not going it alone. Let me introduce you to Dylan and Allison Redling. They're not trust fund babies. They didn't inherit wealth. They didn't win the lottery or create a viral app. They started with entry-level jobs barely making ends meet. But by their 40s, they had achieved financial independence and retired early. Here's how they did it. Strategic career moves. They didn't just clock in and hope for raises. They actively pursued promotions, switched jobs strategically for higher salaries, and invested in skills that made them more valuable. They treated their careers like businesses, not just jobs. Dink advantage. As a dual income, no kids couple, they had more flexibility with their money. Now before you say, well, that won't work for me, hold up. FIRE isn't exclusive to childless couples. Plenty of families navigate this path through creative budgeting, teaching kids financial literacy early, and finding ways to reduce childcare costs. Savvy investing. The Redlings educated themselves. They didn't just throw money at random stocks their co-worker mentioned. They built diversified portfolios with low-cost index funds, maxed out tax-advantaged accounts, and made calculated real estate investments. Most importantly, they stayed consistent. Through market crashes, through doubt, through everyone telling them they were crazy. They kept saving, kept investing, and kept their eyes on the freedom they were building. Here's the truth bomb that flips everything upside down. FIRE isn't actually about retiring early. It's about buying back your time. When you hit financial independence, you don't have to retire. You can keep working, but now it's a choice, not a prison sentence. You can take that lower-paying job you're passionate about without worrying about making rent. You can start that business without the terror of going broke. You can say no to toxic work environments because you have the financial cushion to walk away. This is where broke ends and ownership begins. The traditional path says, trade your time for money for 40+ years. Hope you don't die before retirement. Then maybe enjoy a few years before your body gives out. The FIRE path says, aggressively build assets that generate passive income, reclaim your time while you're still young enough to enjoy it, and design a life around freedom instead of fear. You're not just saving money. You're buying autonomy. You're purchasing the ability to say no to things that drain you and yes to things that fulfill you. That's not early retirement. That's life design. Let's bring it home. The FIRE, Financial Independence Retire Early, movement has 3 core pillars: frugality with intention, extreme savings that accelerate your timeline, and strategic investing that makes your money work harder than you ever could. It's not easy. It requires discipline. It means making choices today that your future self will thank you for. It means swimming upstream against a culture that profits from your spending. But here's what's possible. Living below your means to save aggressively. Investing wisely so your money compounds. Reaching financial independence years or decades before traditional retirement. Reclaiming your time and designing a life around freedom. Even if full-on FIRE isn't your goal, these principles will transform your financial life. You'll have more security, more options, more peace of mind, less anxiety about every unexpected expense. The key is starting, not tomorrow, not next month when you have more money, but today. Track your spending for 1 week. Find one subscription to cancel. Increase your 401k contribution by just 1%. Open an IRA. Read one article about index funds. Small steps compound into massive change. Your financial revolution starts right now. If this video sparked something in you, hit that subscribe button and join the M3 family. We're building a community of people who refuse to stay broke in a system designed to keep us that way. And stick around for the next video. This is the average retirement income today. It will shock you. It's important. Stick and stay, M3 family. You're reprogramming your money mindset. And that's how real wealth is built. Let's go!